Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Shana Nicholson. I'm from the Apex Accelerator. It's a DoD funded program, state match. We're a nonprofit that helps small businesses in the government market space. And today I'm going to talk to you about cybersecurity for small businesses. So as you can see, I am a Star Wars buff, but paying attention to copyright, I was very kind. So today we're going to talk about the Cybersecurity Master and Cybersecurity Force path to secure your business galaxy. On my agenda, we're going to look at saber techniques for security, robot protocols for defense, alliance strategies for safeguarding your galaxy, champion-approved encryption, villain alchemy and software defense, raised force shield for firewalls, Cybermaster employee training, Rebel Alliance recovery protocols, Wisdom of the Wise One's Great Counsel, Warrior Vigilance in cybersecurity, and how to navigate the legal nebula. We're going to talk about unlocking the treasure trove of resources for cybersecurity, and then I'll take some questions and give you my contact information so that if you need anything, you're welcome to reach. So let's talk about saber techniques for security. When we talk about cybersecurity in a small business setting, we all know how many times a month we have to change passwords. And when you have multiple access points and multiple changes, what's the one thing most people do? They write it down, or they use it for everything. And that is a huge cybersecurity risk. You've compromised your own network and your own information. So one of the things I encourage everyone is to get on a rotating schedule of 30, 60, or 90 days for your password changes depending on the level of PIU, protected information that you handle. So if you're working in a top secret facility, if you're handling secure data, make sure your passwords and access are secure and you change it frequently. Yes, it's a pain. When I do inspections and checks and I walk around and I find laptops open with all sorts of data visible and no screensaver and no CAC cards, and those are risks. Anybody can walk into a facility and access your data. You can come in. Will you open that door for him? I think he's worried. So we need to keep your software up to date, and that's not only your virus scanning software, that is your data points and access. That is your firewall information, that is even Microsoft Word, Teams, all of that has to be updated to maintain the highest level of security. So when we use a firewall to protect our computer networks from unauthorized use, we should also test that. Make sure you have your cyber folks or your security folks running tests regularly in a reasonable cadence to ensure that you are up to date. The best system needs to know it can withhold from folks doing it. There are challenges in the federal space for hackers to see if they can penetrate so that we can learn. Am I encouraging you to penetrate federal systems? Absolutely not. Please do not say, oh, I was at this conference and she said I got to try to hack it. No, you will go to prison. I do not encourage that. But in your own system, there should be fail-safes and tests to make sure that you're compliant with CMMC, which is a cybersecurity maturity model, and all of the NIST standards that are, again, living, breathing documents that are constantly being upgraded and evaluated. So we need to train our employees in cybersecurity, at least in understanding what it is. Your lowest educated tech security person or employee is your weakest link, or could be. I'm not going to call my cybersecurity guru and say, you need 101 training. Do they need it? Yes. But is that where my biggest concern is? No. My biggest concern is the intern I've got that writes down his password or uses his cell phone on my network or any of those things. The other thing is you need to have a disaster plan in place. What are you going to do if you're hacked? How do you recover your data? How many safeguards do you have in place? What is your notification system? And just because you have a plan doesn't mean anybody else knows what it is. Where is your plan published? Do you review it with important folks, i.e. employees and everybody touching your data system? That's important. A plan is only as good as it's communicated and then tested. My dad used to say experience is what you get about 10 minutes after you needed it. So we're going to talk about robot protocols for defense. So we need to ensure that digital allies are well programmed to stand against cyber threats. So one of the big things I see as a hazard or a risk is personal access devices on the network. Lots of entities, agencies, and businesses forbid personal access, but we all walk around with one. And most of us don't think that this is a threat to your internal cybersecurity. I don't know if you all paid attention to the TikTok issues on federal property, apps like Wish and Temu being foci issues for foreign-owned controlled entities and investments. Cell phones are a #1 access point for data hacks. They just are. So we need to educate our employees about the importance of cybersecurity and how to protect not only their own information, but our business information and the integrity of our federal systems. We need to monitor our systems for suspicious activity and have a notification process in place. So how do we form alliances and what do we do in partnerships to bolster our cybersecurity? When I'm doing government contracting work and I'm helping small businesses bid, one of the things that I struggle to get folks to understand is you can't let outside entities into your system if they don't match your security protocols. If your security does not allow or prohibit access to all the data in your system and you allow an outsider in, that's a wormhole and open place for other people to come in. So you need to have your protocols in place. Shared links, access based on email, access with two-factor identification, even three-factor. Those are all significant issues with cybersecurity. And making sure that your system is auditable and secure. So again, how do I know whether or not my partners or other businesses or even software developers or vendors have the same protocols I do? Ask. Ask before you give anybody access. Run through your requirements. It's your system. I wouldn't let somebody bring a dog into my house and pee on my floor. I would say, are they housebroken? You ask. It's your house. But understand that when you go into their house, they may have stronger requirements. So if you're partnering with vendors or other businesses, have open communication. Sometimes those discussions are difficult. Sometimes people don't want to have those discussions. Move on. It's better to keep some distance between problems than to create new ones for yourself. So I always advocate for strong cybersecurity laws and regulations, but they don't do any good if you don't read them and you're not aware of them. So when we're talking about those cybersecurity updates, I advocate 100% for free information. You have the SBA, you have Project Spectrum, you have the DoD, you have Apex Accelerators, you have the SBDC, and the HIVE. They are all being trained on cybersecurity protocols. We are all available as free resources to the public, and we can help connect you to industry specialists that can help ensure your cybersecurity protocols are up to date and that you're up to date on the regulations. Championing the approved encryption. Use strong encryption to protect your data. Ensure that your data security is reliable and robust as the encryption used by the most powerful intergalactic civilizations. So when we're talking about implementing two-factor, I'll use GSA eBuy. Anybody that does GSA contracting or bids on government contracting may understand the GSA schedule, and those are pre-negotiated rates. It requires a two-factor identification. It is an absolute nuisance. Anybody that's tried to look up documents and go back and forth, 10 minutes, it times out. You got to get a text message to a cell phone or an email again. But what it does is ensure proper access, data security, and make sure who's accessing this information actually is who they say they are. And that's the other way you keep your information shared privately. There is a push with several government contractors to have a social media policy, that they don't want cell phones with certain social media apps on government premises because it's a breach. It's an access point, and there's no way to secure that. Can we force that? That's an internal issue we won't discuss, but as long as they cannot access your personal network within your entity, it's not a breach for you. So how do we deal with this? The villain alchemy in software defense. We need to transform your software into an impenetrable force. Cybersecurity is like a big brick wall and a moat around your castle of data. The goal is to keep the enemies out and everybody in safe and secure while doing business, while continuing the transaction without being incredibly intrusive, limiting, or hindering your success. Sounds like a lot. But if you think about shopping at Walmart on Black Friday and all those people coming and going, that's a busy network. And we can drive that as, does everything coming and going out of those stores, has everything been paid for? Or is Black Friday one of the biggest shoplifting days of all time? What do we do to fix that? Well, we can't tag everybody coming through the door, or can we? Depending on the required security you need in place, your protocols must meet the data you're protecting. Your access points must meet the data you're protecting. So if you are not dealing with cleared data, you are not dealing with personally identifiable data, no medical records, no top secret documents, basic business 101, you still need to protect that. We all have a social security number. Most of us have bank accounts. Most of us have credit cards. Most of us have ATM cards. 95% of the population has cell phones. That's all personally identified information that is part of that traffic back and forth you have to monitor. Your biggest safeguard is your firewall, your virus protection, and your people. If they're not following the rules, you've got breaches. So we need to be wary of any software that comes from unknown sources. If you have multiple people in your server, there should be administrative requirements about what is downloaded on laptops, devices, etc., and what is allowed on your business stuff. Put an administrative code on it. That is the easiest way to hinder that access or that control. We need to make sure that we set those clear boundaries and expectations, policies, procedures. Anybody that's dealt with ISO 9001, 2018, ISO 20001, those security inspections are policies, protocols, and procedures. Are they being tested? Are they being articulated? Is everybody hearing the same message? Did you get a signature on that message validating that employee ABC and XYZ understands these are my rules, these are my requirements, and are they reviewed at a regular cadence? If your cybersecurity model is from 1980, you're a little behind. And we need to get that updated because it's become far more aggressive. And as we're nearing times of war and we have all of these other issues, we need to make sure we're keeping not only our business safe, but our employees too. We have to be stewards of their trust and they of ours. So you need to keep your software up to date, scan your system for malware regularly, and test your system and your staff. Make it fun. I worked for an entity and did an evaluation for them that routinely sent spam emails and text messages. You would be absolutely dumbfounded how many people bought $5 gift cards for the owner of the company because they got a text message that they needed it for parking. Why would the owner of a multi-million-dollar defense contractor need a $5 gift card for parking? Spam, phishing, etc. So because we were showing that social engineering is a form of cybersecurity attack, some of our brightest engineers failed the test. You just sat through, don't do this, ding ding, don't do this, this is bad, and then you did it anyway. But you signed my paper. So we turned it around and said, okay, how do we get a better compliance for this? We made it fun. And we put out that this year we're going to do 25 cyber attacks. Anybody that withstands all of it gets $1,000 for at Christmas for a bonus, and is given an accolade. Now I have buy-in. Now I have somebody's attention. I didn't offer them a pizza party. I didn't say I'm going to get you an ice cream cone. I said, I'm going to give you money and kudos and accolades with some very type A competitive folks. Do you know how many cybersecurity threats we got by them? All of them. There was somebody that answered every single one like they didn't hear. We can laugh, but we turned it into a game, and we got more buy-in. We only had 2 or 3 cyber engineers, tech people by trade, education, and notion. 2 that didn't fall for any of them, of over 100. We set it up, we told them, we did training, we got them to sign a paper, and we offered money. 2 people listened of all of them. And it became an ongoing joke. Are they better now? Yes. But what did that do? That taught us where weaknesses were in the program. How do you get buy-in for protecting your galaxy? How do you say, don't join the dark side and come play with us over here? Make it worthwhile. Bring their kids in. Teach their children cybersecurity. Have a family day. Be creative and inventive in how you're going to get your message across to protect your information. Again, scanning frequently, setting clear boundaries and expectations, getting signatures on policies. All of those things are critical for your cybersecurity safety. Raise force shield for firewalls. Protect your networks and create an impenetrable force. Back to my moat. We want to keep the bad guy on the other side. But I don't want to have to fill the moat with alligators we can't get by to come to work. Least restrictive possible, safest necessary. And then one step further. I hear a lot of discussion about how expensive cybersecurity is. It doesn't have to be. It can be set up in a manner that meets your needs based on your expectations of your employees, your staff, and your requirements. You don't have to have an entire building with everybody scanning this, that, and that. It doesn't have to be that intrusive, but it should be articulated in a way that everybody understands. And repetitively. Post it. Just like the fire exits, post your disaster plan. Make sure there's buy-in. Make sure your lowest level, highest level, clear up to your president owns it. My favorite out is the owner of a company saying, well, I don't have to fool with that. But you're the one they're buying gift cards for to park. If you don't have buy-in from the entire entity, you don't have buy-in at all. Top down, bottom up. You have to have buy-in. So use a firewall to protect your computer and networks from unauthorized access. Limit external access devices. In the remote world, that's difficult. Or is it? I help a company now that has all remote workers. They have a portal and a CAC card. And it's a card they put in the side of the laptop, gets their thumbprint, pops up, facial recognition. Does that seem like a lot? Yes. Is it necessary? Absolutely. Do they still work from home? Yes. Have they been hacked? No. Do they test the system every quarter? Absolutely. Do they run routine penetration testing? Absolutely. Have they found issues? Yes. They acknowledge it, they address it, they test it again. And then they announce it and they publish, hey, we messed up over here and we saw this gap, and then they get buy-in again. So you have to understand that your firewall protects your networks from unauthorized access. You have to keep it up to date. And sometimes your favorite software, Norton's, McAfee, whatever, isn't the best software for what you're doing. It's not your best access. So how do I figure out what is? Call somebody smarter than me. I have no problem telling you I don't know. But let's find out together, and then let's share that information. So I have a friend, Adam Austin, who is Totem Tech and does lots of cybersecurity maturity model testing. Project Spectrum has been set up and does a ton of CMC education and cybersecurity networking and events. 90% of those events can be free. You can go and speak to brilliant minds in the cybersecurity community and look for free events and network events. Ask questions. The best information is shared when it's supposed to be, not when it's stolen. So, again, we're going to look at patches. We need to make sure everything's up to date. We're going to monitor for specific login activity and anything that's out of the ordinary. Cybersecurity masters. How do you train a Jedi? Repetition. See one, do one, teach one. Learn it. Regurgitate it. Make sure it's second nature. If all I need from my employees is to log in with dual authentication, dual factor, let's run it together. Let's make sure. Make it a challenge. Keep it fun. Keep buy-in. Educate your employees about the importance. Show them what it can do. Now, I'm not saying hack their Facebook and turn everything into a purple people eater, but it got their attention. And I had a company that went out of their way to make it real, to make it tangible. This can affect you. This can make it your problem. Look, I got into your Facebook. Well, it's because you left your cell phone laying there. If I can get into your Facebook by just touching the screen, what can you do to a multi-million-dollar defense contracting network that isn't secure? Now I have buy-in, and now I have their attention. Educate them, re-educate them, make it short, sweet, and simple, and make it public. Everybody on that network gets the same education, the same buy-in, and the same status check. If you can't validate and you don't have buy-in, you don't have a secure system. Train your employees to be proficient with security tools and technologies, including the uh-oh button. If there's a problem, nobody gets scolded. Your first response is not, shame on you, you shouldn't have yelled fire. No, it's thank you for alerting us. We will check it out, and we will follow up and let you know, yes, it is an issue, no, it isn't an issue, but thank you. Be open, be transparent, say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, do I want every goober calling, oh no, I got an ad from Amazon? No, but good criteria. If you see somebody lingering around a hospital that's neither a nurse, an aide, or a doctor, but they're peeping in people's charts and accessing computers, you should say something. That goes clear down to administrative staff and service providers, clear up to the CEO and the president. Create a culture of cybersecurity awareness in your organization. Make it fun. Do cybersecurity challenges. We have this lock-picking event in here. I know how to do that because I was a firefighter for 20 years. I can pick a lock with the best of them. Is that something I want to brag about on a DoD platform? No. But that's a way I can connect the importance of security. It's a game. I can say to a room full of 50 guys, gals, kids, if you hack this, you get $10 in lunch on me. Guess what? I got buy-in. I got their attention because now they're going to get lunch. Everybody likes to eat. And a little bit of money, and now I've made it fun and it's a challenge. Create that culture and then reward your employees. If Sally Sue raised the red flag because they got a phishing scam and they caught it, and they didn't open it, and they sent it out, and they made sure they followed the policy, they get an attaboy, they get a kudos, she gets whatever, lunch, a ticket, an email. It encourages buy-in. So the part of the wisdom is that it's everybody's responsibility to keep your cybersecurity stuff up to date and safe. Got to have the buy-in. You got to make it worthwhile, or it's yet another unpaid, unfunded requirement that people whine about. But when you get people engaged in, hey, next week's that challenge we're going to do, let's set up a team. That's fun, and that encourages teamwork and engagement. Rebel Alliance recovery protocols. Your disaster plan is only as good as it is practiced, articulated, and shared. What good does an emergency disaster response plan do if nobody knows where it's at? Oh yeah, we got one, it's in a filing cabinet somewhere. Okay, the whole room flooded. Now what? Well, I don't know. Call Joe in IT, maybe he'll know. We can't do that, not in this day and age, not with remote workers, not with current threats, not with protected data. We have to have a security plan well defined, published, articulated, and reviewed, or it's not worth anything. So, keep your recovery plan up to date. Make sure you keep copies and mods, and that the most up-to-date current one is reviewed with employees on a regular cadence and posted. The wisdom of the wise ones counsel. I love the little beanie for Yoda. I have one. Seek guidance. Ask smarter people than me. If you are the smartest person in the room, find another room. And that's fact. You need to learn every day, all day. I take every opportunity I can to learn new stuff because it's an ever-changing landscape. And I love finding smarter people than me. I love it. I want to learn. I love that challenge. Do I want those smarter people hacking my information? No. But they'll teach me how to keep my company safe. They'll teach me how to keep my employees safe. And in the long run, that saves me money. It saves my customers money. It saves my clients money. And overall makes us far more secure. Be proactive. Read. Dedicate 15 minutes a day. Read on the updates. CMMC has changed, and it's a requirement now. So we're in 2.0. And we just left 1.0. 2.0 is not approved quite yet. It has changed drastically. But if we're still functioning under a different level of protocols, are we up to date? Are we compliant? Does our software that we have meet our needs? Do we even know what our needs are if we're not looking at it? Probably not. Can you get lucky and muddle through business without it? Well, maybe. But I could get lucky and muddle through lots of things I don't want to try, like shark-infested waters without a cage. I don't want to do that. I can do it. It's not a good idea, and it's not a good investment of my time or finances. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Stay up to date and be patient and persistent. There are threats. We all know it. It's not the Chicken Little deal, the sky is falling. It's none of that. These threats are real. They can compromise your finances, your day-to-day operations, your employees, and your personal information. The worst thing you can do is lie about it, keep it to yourself, and not let your customers know that there's been a problem. Because the first time somebody says, well, so-and-so knew I told him, and you're on a witness stand having to explain to a federal court why you did not follow federal protocol, ain't gonna be me coming to save you. Honesty, integrity, and security are important, critical aspects. Warrior vigilance and cybersecurity. What does that mean? I love Ewoks. I think they're fabulous. But those little monsters run around like little gremlins, and you need the gremlins in the background. You need them protecting your stuff. You need them challenging that firewall. You need them bringing new information. My favorite people are the little squirrels in our IT department for one of the customers I help. They can't make eye contact with me. I'm also neurodivergent. They're neurodivergent. We don't communicate well. I don't know what they're talking about, zeros and ones and codes, and I don't know. But they're amazing. And they can detect things. And they can teach me. And they can teach my people. So they fortify our defenses. They mirror resourcefulness and effectiveness of EWOCs because they're everywhere aren't seen. They're behind the scenes doing all the hard work to keep us safe. They're doing the updates. They're making sure our system stays stable. They're making sure the information is protected. They're prepared to adapt our security and your security, as you should be. So being prepared to adapt the security, again, make it fun. Guys, we're taking down the entire network of the hospital next week, and you're going to have to go back to a pencil and paper for at least 6 hours. You want to hear nurses and doctors have a complete freak out? The blue flu just happened. Everybody next Wednesday now has COVID, the plague, and maybe TB. But ain't nobody going to be here because the pen and paper scares them to death. But look at that pen and paper in terms of security. Was that the best method of keeping our critical information secure? Probably not. But updating the system needs backups, planning, and articulation. So instead of bombarding them the night they come into work with, hey, we bought you pizza, but we're taking down your whole system, here's your pencil, pre-plan it. Do it in phases, do it in stages, do what you have to do to make it as easy and least restrictive on your folks as possible. And get them to buy in. Navigating the legal nebula. Back to the last thing you want to be is on a witness stand saying, well, I didn't think it was all that serious. You just had a national security breach. How did you not think that was something you needed to report? How did you not do the testing? Why didn't you do the testing? Who did you call? Wait, you have a cybersecurity? Those are not questions we want to navigate. Follow the regulations. Look at the FAR. Federal acquisition regulation are required for all contractors. And I speak in terms of contractors because that's what I do. That's the world I live in. I do government contracting. And lately the government contracting requirements have changed substantially. As of yesterday, Southern State has essentially evicted a foreign-owned controlled entity from their land and doing business. You no longer own this property, go back across the pond. Do I agree with that? It's not my place. Do I like the idea of the government coming in and saying you can't own property because? It's not my place. People smarter than me, with more information and more knowledge, make those calls. But within my house, within my system, I have to be very cognizant of foreign-owned controlled entity. So, staying up to date on the changes of the laws, staying up to date on who's allies and who isn't, steering your business safely through the legal expedition, get an attorney. Have the attorneys look at that if you have questions. Ask the right people the right questions. My McDonald's and Starbucks barista are not going to be the ones to tell me what the cybersecurity protocols are, although my barista is a really great cryptocurrency guru. That's not who I'm going to take federal advice from. That's not who I'm going to take investment advice from. Ask the experts. Will it cost you money? Maybe. Probably. Is it worth the investment to keep you off a witness stand and to keep all your data in check and secure? Absolutely. So again, consult with your attorney and keep your stuff up to date. When I say it's a commitment that requires buy-in, buy-in doesn't have to be financial. There is a treasure trove of resources for cybersecurity that are free. Free trainings, free webinars, free networking events. I like free. Do some cost some money? Absolutely. Is the buy-in? Every unit of hour is monetary in nature when you're conducting business. How you spend that time is worth the investment. So, who are our allies in defense? Well, again, taking full access of the resources and stuff. The SBA, Small Business Administration, is a partner for the Apex and has funding and training to help with small businesses in cybersecurity to help with updates. They post training, they do networking events, and they have funding available for small businesses. So if you're saying, I need $10,000 to get my network stable and up to date, there's funding. NINSA, who I've not put up there, our local NINSA liaison is Andy Tennant, and I can get you that information. They're currently doing challenges. They're getting all our little squirrels from Marshall and WVU to come and play. Let's put those hacking skills to good use and learn from them. They're doing challenges that are going to pay these kiddos $5,000 if they can hack a system or come up with a better thing. Back to buy-in. $5,000 scholarship doesn't really seem like much, but they're trading hours for dollars. And it's a heck of a, gold star to hang on your chest that I hacked WVU's system in a safe, secure environment. So I'm an Apex Accelerator counselor, among other things, but Apex used to be the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We have been charged by the DoD and tasked to become your cybersecurity liaisons and help you get to these free resources. We help you do registrations and assessments to get into business, and we help you do innovation. SITRs, Small Business Innovation Research Grants, small business training, I can't bring the technical and initiatives and research compliance. We also do how to bid on government contracts and how to navigate that system. Project Spectrum is a comprehensive, cost-effective platform for cybersecurity, and they've been touted by the DoD as the go-to liaisons. I love Totem Tech. Adam Austin is a great guy, very knowledgeable. He offers many, many resources to help get cybersecurity compliance. And there are lots of free resources and guides available. And if you need help finding them, call, reach out. I have provided my contact information, and I just want to see you all be safe. So here is my contact information. You've got my LinkedIn account, my personal cell phone, my personal email, and my work email. Use them. Shoot me a text. Identify yourself. Let me know what you need. If I can hop on a Zoom or a Google Duo and answer questions, provide you resources, handouts. I put an Excel spreadsheet together for the new CMMC. I will be doing FOCI training and CMMC 2.0 training, all of which are free. I provide the step-by-step handouts, contact information. Reach out. I'll put you on the list. I do the webinars. They're recorded. They're online. I also teach for a couple other folks. If I can't answer your question, we'll learn together. I'm not going to come in and program your stuff for you. I make the copier, man, and that's truth. But I can get you good people, and I can help you navigate those things. I can also get you the dates and times for some of these challenges and these events so that you can scope out new employees, new technologies, learn from other people's mistakes and successes. We don't have to repeat them ourselves. I appreciate everybody's time. Do you have any questions? Did I run through that really quick? I did.
You have a little time left.
So you said that you implemented a program where people were rewarded financially for doing well with cybersecurity reporting, cybersecurity events, things like that.
Yes.
How much of an increase in performance or decrease in attacks or successful attacks did you see?
We reduced successful attacks down to almost nothing.
Wow.
But the phishing part, for whatever reason, seems to be by human nature, people want to do good. You see somebody, the owner of the company texted, he needs me, I shall run and save before I think the next 2 steps forward. We forget common sense for common goodness. But as far as hacking the system, I work with a gentleman named Jacob Eckhart, phenomenal hacker, cyber guy in the background. He got it down to almost nothing. That's not to mean it didn't occur.
Sure.
He protected it to where almost no intrusion was successful.
Okay.
So we can't eliminate threat. We can protect against it and fortify our security system. So I guess it's kind of not a fair answer, because people are innately, and I try to believe this, innately good-hearted, and they want to help. So social engineering is one of your bigger threats. But he has been able to protect systems for that organization that has then translated to a program through FEMA, and that's their contract, and it's done a wonderful job.
Cool.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? I will gladly provide my slideshow and a PDF for you, and all the contact information. I think Secure West Virginia, you all will put them up too.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We'll have available.
And they're available in any resources, including the spreadsheet for the NIST check sheet and the self-assessment for CMMC. I will gladly share. It is not a binding legal document. I do not say that it is your end-all be-all. It, again, CMMC is a living, breathing entity and constantly being updated.
Can we just email you for copies of those documents?
Absolutely,
Very good.
absolutely. The easiest is Shana Nicholson at Gmail. It's just my name squashed together, no dots, no dashes, or snicholson@rcacwv.com. But if you send it to my personal email, I'll send them all out. And you're welcome to share. I encourage you to pay it forward. If you learn or you make a mistake and you learn from it, save the next guy. Success is not a pie. There's plenty for all of us. Why should anybody else suffer? So, again, we're going to be doing FOCI training, which is foreign-owned and control investment or interest. So China, Iran, those countries are not allowed to access U.S. government docs. And it was a Chinese company that was kicked out of, I think, Arkansas yesterday. They seized the land and booted them because they are a FOCI threat. And it was deemed that they were trying to access something. I also do how to get into government market, government bidding. I do proposal writing stuff. We're doing different registrations and all of that, all of which are free. So I will always give you free resources first. But not everything is free, and there are things that you may have to step up. Did I answer everybody's question? Any other questions? Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.